Are you going to buy your buddy something for Valentine's Day this year? If so, do it at Amazon, and click through 86charles.com to get there. Now go lace some pipe, eat some carpet or whatever it is that wets your whistle. Happy Valentine's Day.
The evidence thus far suggests that in the first few minutes after death, consciousness is not annihilated. Whether it fades away afterwards, we do not know. But right after death, consciousness is not lost.
You are full of bullshit, my friend. I will sue you for everything you have. I will sue your ass.
Welcome to 86 Charles, with your hosts John Darby and Travis Spencer.
And with that, welcome to 86 Charles. Travis Spencer, hello, sir.
John Darby, good to be here as always. How the hell are you?
Great. It's good to have you.
So what got you thinking about this old article from September of last year?
Well, it's not that old.
No. And it is groundbreaking. It's pretty crazy. It's stuff that we've known maybe for a while, but it was hard to get a sample size big enough to call it science. That's the whole problem with this field, right?
And it was new to me. I had not read it in September.
Well, what's happening is we've got a divide in science, essentially, because all quantum mechanics are taking over, like the mechanical theories that have been a stronghold in science since science began. So there's a divide where people are starting to look at things at a more quantum level. So with this divide, we're getting new ways that we can actually, or we're looking into new things. It's like for the longest time, consciousness was just, the idea of it was that it's just in our brain.
Well, it was dismissed as non-scientific.
Because it's hard to quantify, right?
It's hard to say what it is.
Which we still don't really know. But, with your favorite multidimensional theory and like the multiverse, it's possible that your consciousness slips out of you when you die. That's the 21 grams, right? Your body is 21 grams lighter after you pass. And the idea of that is there's something, your essence, your consciousness, your soul, whatever it is, it's gone, right? So, and then everybody always says you see like a light, right? What if that light is a wormhole, and then your consciousness just goes to another body, and you're just right back in another body, maybe in a similar life. Who knows? Maybe you've died yesterday, and you don't even know because it happens so fast.
And I'm just catching up to it.
And you're like, oh, you're just right back at this bartending job, doing a podcast on Tuesdays.
Man, that'd be weird. Is that like some kind of personal hell? You're trapped doing a podcast that no one listens to.
It's a feedback loop. You're just hearing yourself over and over and over again.
It's just, I don't know. I just find it. I like that things of this nature are going to be treated more scientifically and given more scientific credence, and not just considered maybe spiritual.
This is the beginning. We're getting there. But yeah, science has crapped on all this paranormal stuff for so long that it's really hard. The scientists who are trying these studies are still in the minority. So it's still looked at as like, this is pseudoscience is what they call it, which is not quite right.
I don't think in this case it
limited
is.
Well, it's a limited view of, I guess it depends on how the study's done and whether or not it's to standards. That's the way the scientific world should be, and you should be open to everything, though.
I do still think most fortune tellers
procedure is done right,
pseudoscience for the most part.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, there's even scientists out there like Rupert Sheldrake who gets called a pseudoscientist in his TED Talk and stuff because he's talking about consciousness, even though like all of his methods are scientific to the T. But yeah, it's fascinating stuff. So this study itself was like, okay, so people would die. It was all heart attack victims, right? There were like 3,000 of them that they monitored. I think it was in the U.S., the U.K., and Canada. And it was like something roughly like 130 out of 300 who died, were revived, and in that, 3 to 7 minute range, some of them have memories that they could talk about after.
Right, they had, they all had some sort of, I guess, awareness would be the way to phrase that.
Like floating around in a room, and the guy he wasn't in his body though, so he's out of the body. It's so bizarre, right? Like, how does that happen? And what is? And that's just like, what is it?
That's what, that's what sparked in me was like, well, what is that? Because if your brain is dead and your heart is dead, what is that?
Everything's connected, man. It's like you got to think of it like, say your organs have Wi-Fi. All your organs have Wi-Fi, so they all communicate with each other outside. Every one of your cells has a consciousness, so it thinks like you and me, but it only on its basic level that it can understand. I don't know. It's bizarre. My mind is blown.
I just wonder if by definition is that the spirit? Is that what people talk about when they talk about your spirit or your soul? Is that energy in you that doesn't ever really die?
Do we even want to start talking about psychedelic drugs and how they bring you to some of these similar places? Like a lot of these things are the same thing. Like we're getting somewhere that's outside of us, but we haven't mapped it yet. So through drugs and studies like this, being open to it and talking about it like it's real, we might actually be able to map it and understand it. You know? That's the hope. So we need old, dumb scientists to die off. I'm back from the dead. Everlast coming back from the dead. Back from the dead. You know I'm back from the dead. And I'll put the freaking hole in your head.
Oh yeah! Go to ballershaveclub.com before you get your freak on. We ship you 2 sets of blades, one for the moneymaker, the other for the heartbreaker. All for one baller monthly price. Why 2 sets of blades? You can't shave your face the same as below the waist. Be a hunk from your face to your junk. You don't trim the bushes with a lawnmower, right? You can't eat a banana before you peel it, right? Before you put your Richard in a box, make sure you tighten up his locks. You're saying to yourself, this is too good to be believable. You don't have to take it from me. Listen to my man, Dr. Evil.
There really is nothing like a shorn scrotum. It's breathtaking. I suggest you try it.
BallerShaveClub.com.
Baller Shave Club is not real, and you should not go to ballershaveclub.com, but you should go to 86charles.com and click on Amazon so we can be balling for real. Thank you. Nickel what? 5 topics currently trending. Travis, were you ever a member of Rough Riders?
I would bark, but I'm not very good at barking. Just go ahead and get started.
Earl Simmons, a.k.a. The Dog, also known as DMX, is on the mend after he was found unconscious in a hotel parking lot. Police in Yonkers, New York responded to a call on Monday night of an unconscious man in a Ramada Inn parking lot. Police would not release the man's name, but his lawyer confirmed he was hospitalized Monday night. Yeah, that's really all there is to the story. He's on the mend.
Shout out to DMX. Get better. We need you. What was he in last that I saw? He was in, what was that? Where he was in jail. And it was some show where like he was making fun of himself for being in jail and he was telling kids not to be stupid or something. I forget. It was funny. But yeah, get better, DMX. We need you.
We're wishing you the best, DMX. Speedy recovery.
Shout out to DMX. You like cockroaches, John?
No.
What about robot cockroaches that could eventually save you by becoming search and rescue teams? Researchers at UC Berkeley have designed Cram, a robot prototype that looks just like a cockroach. Compressible robot with articulated mechanisms. That's what Cram stands for, not for what you thought. Cram has a jointed exoskeleton and a soft shell that allow it to take shape and to shift and move through small spaces. The researchers think that Cram, whose existence was partially funded by the U.S. Army, could be the first step in creating an incredibly effective search and rescue robot. The scientists behind Cram, Kaushik Jairam and Robert Full, thought the cockroach's unique way of moving and its general imperviousness to destruction made it the perfect inspiration for a rescue bot, which would need to be able to hunt through rubble in confined spaces. This is pretty exciting, man.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I can't wait to see drones flying overhead, cockroach bugs filtering through the ground, finding things. It's, the future is amazing. We're here. We get robot cockroaches.
There are elements of the future that are amazing. I don't know if it's across the board.
We've got Beyonce and the Super Bowl on the field. We've got robot cockroaches. It's here, man. It's here. Full on.
Yes.
Bernie Sanders is going to win the election.
Welcome future.
An old white man is going to win the election.
So it's back to status quo.
He is Jewish. It's different.
So we're going back to the future?
Hello? All right, let's move on.
All right, moving on. Florida man charged with tossing live alligator into Wendy's drive-thru. Joshua James, 24, made his initial appearance before Judge Joseph Marks one day after being arrested for tossing a live alligator through the drive-thru window of a Wendy's restaurant. He has 2 degrees from the University of Florida, home of the Gators. The bizarre incident occurred when James found a 3.5-foot alligator on the side of the road and led the reptile into his truck. Then drove to a Wendy's restaurant, placed an order, received a drink at the drive-thru window, and hurled the alligator through the opening. No one was hurt. His parents said, Ed and Linda James, that he knew someone at the Wendy's and was trying to play a joke. They said, and quote, "It was just a stupid prank that he did that's now turning into this," said his mother, Linda James. "He's a prankster. He does stuff like this because he thinks it's funny." And now James faces a felony charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill and misdemeanor counts of taking an alligator and theft, possibly punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Ha! That's a funny joke.
Shout out to Tim Tebow. Shout out to DeJuan Johnson. Shout out to who's Eric? Oh, Eric Delgado. Shout out to Beth and Val. Shout out to, I think those are all the University of Florida graduates I know. Sounds like a good group. Throwing alligators through windows. He's got 2 degrees, huh?
This guy has 2 degrees, and he's not smart enough to not throw an alligator through a window?
Congratulations, Florida. Man, Florida's a fun place.
Well, yeah, unless you work at a Wendy's.
Could you imagine?
Dude, that would suck. Like, it already sucks. You're working a drive-thru at a Wendy's. Like, it's obviously not going great. And then someone throws a 3.5-foot alligator at you? Ugh.
I mean, I would hope that the employees of Wendy's have a sense of humor, though.
Would you have a sense of humor about that?
Depends. Depends on whether or not I got bit.
No, it doesn't
Either
matter.
way, you'd probably wet yourself, to say the least.
I don't need college boy throwing an alligator at me just because I happen to work a drive-thru.
We don't know the whole story. Maybe they got his order wrong.
Then if he ordered it and got it wrong, and then went and got the gator and did that, maybe I give him a pass.
That's okay.
He had not even received his order yet, and he already had the gator in the truck.
Maybe it was for the last time. We don't know. Did he say, that's for the last time?
No, apparently he's a prankster.
Hilarious. Moving on.
Society is throwing a gator through my drive-thru window.
John, you ready for self-driving cars?
Yes.
And a major milestone for Google's self-driving car and the entire autonomous car industry, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration has said in a letter that the computer inside Google's self-driving car can be considered the driver of the vehicle. This has the potential to pave the way for Google's car, which has no steering wheel or pedals, to hit the streets in a broader capacity. Oh, man, I'm excited. You know what this means? Bars in cars.
I'm going to open a bar, and I'm going to have a fleet of self-driving cars so that you can come in, get as hammered as you want, and I'll take you home.
That's good, but I also like the idea of the bar that drives around driven by a self-driven car. It's like a party bus, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It couldn't be a car. It'd have to at least be like a limo or something.
Well, I already told you we're working on rooms that just drive around. So essentially they're going to be boxes, little vans. You got your TV, you're just watching the game. You're like, oh, let's go over here.
What you need is a food truck. that only serves liquor, but you have to get in the food truck to drive around.
I mean, the food truck's a good idea because then you can have a chef on there too, and you're just sitting there eating. It'd be nice to have a little kitchen. Somebody can make you food and serve you drinks. Like, you'll never have to leave your pod. Future's awesome.
Yeah, this is one part of the future that I do look forward to. Not having to drive myself around. I could read a book while I'm sitting in traffic. That's kind of cool.
You're not going to read
No,
a
I know.
book.
I would take a nap. That's what I would always do.
You're going to watch cartoons and or nap.
Yeah.
That's all you do, right?
That sounds more like me.
I mean, it's not bad. I watch a lot of cartoons too.
Yeah.
It's good life. It's good life. All right, to the future. Let's move on.
To the future. The largest diamond uncovered in over a century and the world's second largest diamond was officially named ahead of a secretive roadshow in the hopes to find a buyer for the rare stone. The name translates into Our Light. It is actually Setswana language, which I'm not going to pronounce, but it translates into Our Light, and it is a 1,100 carat diamond about the size of a tennis ball. So the biggest challenge on the roadshow is that the weight to value ratio of the stone makes it potentially the highest value item on the planet. So because of the security around the stone, there will be no telling people where it's going to be at any particular point until it actually is in the show. That's pretty crazy.
What's with you and crystals, man? You're pretty obsessed.
I just like them. It's fascinating. Because it's more interesting to me than money.
Do you have any crystals, though?
No. And this isn't a crystal, weirdo. It's a diamond.
Yeah, it's a crystal, bro. It's like the purest of crystals.
Right, but this is not like some fortune teller's charm.
You don't think that thing has some crazy power?
Well, I mean, to get chicks, yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
Dude, it's insane to get chicks, to get money. Like, could you imagine walking around with that thing on a necklace?
Like,
the kind of
that's what I'm
weirdos
saying.
you'd
I'm
attract?
Like, you're pulling an 11 with that stone. No question.
Like, that's proof that crystals have power. So don't ever get all crazy at these, weirdos who wear crystals, bro. Little hemp, wrapped in some hemp.
No, but it is an impressive looking stone.
You know what the crystals can do, right?
What?
You can download your consciousness into a crystal, and then later in life, once we figure out how to read it, you can upload your consciousness and become live again.
So my consciousness would never die.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Crystals.
Hell yeah. To the future and to crystals.
The crystal future.
The future is crystal clear.
Crystal.
From last week.
Hello, folks.
It's not every day you come across a speechless John Derby. Is your stick 100% cheese? Renders him speechless for approximately 7 minutes. And why wouldn't it? He literally just got through talking about McDonald's being sued for claiming their sticks are 100% cheese. Why would he put himself in that position? Whatever percentage of your stick is cheese, Mr. Derby, do not advertise it. Incidentally, they mentioned that the name of the man suing McDonald's is Chris Howe. I knew a Chris Howe in college, and he was a magician. You can't trust a magician. Their whole deal is playing tricks on you. Oh, are these sticks partially starch? Or did you magically add the starch after purchase? Which is it, bro? Are you magical, or are you a plaintiff? Because you can't be both. Also, weren't people complaining that they were getting mozzarella sticks with no cheese in them? Probably a whole community of magicians went to eat at McDonald's with cruel intentions. I hate people who sue because something didn't meet expectations. Why don't you just act like a normal human being and write a scathing Yelp review? This is Jesse, and basking in the silence was my favorite part of last week's podcast.
It's time for the failed athlete perspective. Travis.
Oh my God,
The
what a
game's
relief.
over.
Thank God. I'm so happy football season's over. The Super Bowl every year is like the biggest, most ridiculous ridiculous, most terrifying spectacle of the year. I'm just glad it's over.
I had no idea how overwhelmed you were by the whole process.
I mean, once the Cardinals lost, I was out, so the Super Bowl wasn't a big deal. Of course, I still watched it, but just the dog and pony show that it is.
The Cardinals getting stomped out did steal
so
a lot
over
of
it
from me.
And that was a beatdown. That was rough. But you did pretty well. I'll give you some props on your props, bro.
I was glad I got to actually watch the game.
You picked Denver by 6. Nicely done. It ended up. It was 24-10.
It was 16-10, like in the fourth quarter.
I mean, if you pick them by 6, more than 6, you win the bet. So good job, buddy.
Whoa!
Good job. You would have gotten pretty good odds on that too. You would have made some money.
Most people didn't even have.
Your other big one was
a touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely not. We have on record you saying that if the Broncos win, orange Gatorade. Nice word. Or orange sports drink.
I wish we could have found out what color Carolina had in their bucket, because I think I would have gone 2 for 2.
What's the color of Cam Newton's tears?
Clear?
Then there you go. That's the color.
Oh, because he filled a bucket with his
all
tears.
All it was his crybaby antics. Unbelievable.
Have you ever seen
those are the only two you hit, right?
Cam Newton's journey in this world? That's exactly what he is.
I wanted to believe the narrative that he had grown up.
No.
A little bit. At least a little bit. I wasn't expecting much. I was expecting him to, okay, he's doing good things for the kids. He's kind of turned the other cheek as a good Christian would, like he is. But no, it all came tumbling down. He showed his true colors. It was pretty ridiculous. It was pretty lame, man.
I for one, was not the least bit surprised. He delivered exactly what I thought. As soon as it's not going Cam Newton's way, Cam Newton throws fits. That's what he does. That's who he's always been.
I think I was just too overwhelmed by the whole Super Bowl that I couldn't see it right. I'll give you some credit. You saw those 3 things right. We cannot. This is the strangest thing. We've been scouring the internet, and we can't find the results to the Buffalo Wild Wings 12 million wings sold, and how many times did Archie Manning get shown in the broadcast? Somebody needs to
find out and let us know.
Which you had over, and then over 12 million. Yeah, right?
It was 12 million for the wings, and I also took the over.
I had some incredible wings by the beautiful Andrea Chesley. She made great wings. I ate like 25
Is that an exaggeration, or did you actually eat 25
wing
wings?
Drunk. We got 2 pounds of them. I ate so many wings.
But do you really? But legitimately, do you think it was 25?
I think it was. There was like 30 wings there, so I probably ate 20 to
That's
22.
Insane. That's a lot of wings, man.
It was good. And then after that, barbecue beef sandwiches with homemade coleslaw on top. Oh man, that was good. On some King's Hawaiian rolls.
How do you take your coleslaw?
Damn.
Vinegary or sweet?
This was the more milky sweet. But we always put jalapenos in it, which is a nice touch.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It kind of depends on the sauce, too. Because if you got a tangy sauce, you can go sweet slaw. But if you got sweet sauce, you got to go tangy slaw.
Correct, sir. Yeah, so we'll get to the bottom of this. Do you have a word, or I'll give you a couple words that you can give to the 2015 NFL season, John Derby? What do you have to say?
For the whole season, it wasn't terrible.
Sum it up.
That's about how I would sum that up. I wouldn't say it was any kind of a magical season. I wouldn't say that there's anything overly memorable. And the end game was a fizzle compared to last year's. So I would say it wasn't terrible. But
I'll say this. Roger Goodell, we know who you are. Your days are numbered, son. All right, Let's move on to basketball. All-Star Weekend. Valentine's Day. I love it when it happens like this because I can just watch basketball all day on Valentine's Day. Ignore my beautiful fiance. She loves it.
She calls that every other day of the
Valentine's Day.
All-Star Weekend.
Thank you to the NBA. Just give me all the reason in the world to not pay attention to my sweetheart.
Such a
Thanks,
jerk.
NBA.
Fantasy
Oh, real quick, you want to talk fantasy basketball?
I got stomped out by you. Fine, we'll make it fast. I got stomped out by you last week, and I'm getting stomped out by my brother this week. Great. Nothing. It's fine.
What's going on with your team, man?
Fine.
Is everything okay? You need some help?
You just need an all-star break, Brett.
You want to talk a trade?
Fine.
I'm gonna offer you the number 26 player in all of fantasy basketball, Marc Gasol.
He's available for anybody.
What are you talking about? No. I'll trade him to you right now. What are you gonna give me for him?
Give you an empty bench space.
Bad news, America. Marc Gasol's probably out for the year. He's got a broken foot. My fantasy team misses you, Mark.
Rest in peace,
Mark.
Mark.
Get better soon. Get well soon, please.
What, I mean, chicks? What, I mean, to get chicks? Yeah. What, I mean, chicks? What, I mean, to get chicks? Yeah. What, I mean, chicks? What, I mean, to get chicks? Yeah. What, I mean, chicks? What, I mean, to get chicks? Yeah. It's time for the Facebook World News Update. This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by Consciousness. It survives after death and struggles during life. A man in California said he's been boycotting Beyonce ever since she had LaToya kicked out of Destiny's Child. A woman in Joshua Tree said, "Yes, Lady Gaga, yes." A woman in Los Angeles said she never thought she'd meet the man of her dreams until she met him. Cloud 9, she's so thankful for him. Surprise celebration dinner. Heart and rose emoji.
I wish I could change my consciousness. I don't really want to be a British lady anymore. My flat sucks. The tea is horrible. But mostly, it's these f***ing hormones. And I am not even mentioning this almost transparent complexion. I wish there was something I could do to become a different person. Oh bloody hell, I'll give it a shot.
Oh, brilliant. Wow. I didn't know if that would work. Oh, my teeth are awful. This is strange. I have a banger and 2 lumps of mash in between my legs. These things are sweaty and uncomfortable. Oh, Jesus. Why are there so many curly hairs down there? This really is quite disgusting. I can do better.
American. Ha, I'm a f***ing American. Well, yeehaw, howdy all you poor and unfortunate motherfuckers. I cannot wait to vote for Donald Trump, USA, USA.
Hola, ahora usted suena atractiva. Quiero tener relaciones sexuales con mí mismo ahora. Uf, ¿qué es eso? Un bigote. Oh, Dios mío, tengo un bigote.
您好，猫咪，哈哈哈！我喜欢听到自己笑了起来。我想我会留下这一段时间。我是小而紧凑，并该死他的部长之外，他。
A woman in Boston said, "Hey Lyft, you can SMD you want to extort me. You come fucking find me." A man in Los Angeles said most people didn't know they were upset with the halftime show until some sorry-ass excuse for a news network told them they were. This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by Consciousness. It survives after death and struggles during life.
Lead with a little bit of dignity. Never loved what I had. Always felt like I deserved more. But when I make it to the other side, that's when we'll settle up the score.
Dad's got notebooks. We don't know what's in her notebooks. She's gonna show us all her notebooks. Little yellow
notebook is another one of those Aquarius black notebooks. This one happens to be for subject. The very first thing written on it says 461 minus 417 equals 44, which is true. The actual real first thing written on it with a date is 8/22/2010. It's food diary, shocking. That was a Sunday. I had breakfast with Gabe and Karen at Hugo's. The last thing written in this notebook, dated, some years later, 12/8/2015, says Peru, the coast, Lima, without context, of course, but I'm sure it was very important when I wrote it down. But what is interesting about this notebook, other than those two fascinating items, is that in between, I was on a total roll with this notebook. There are so many things written in here. I use my favorite pens, the Uniball Vision Fine Point in black and purple, sometimes blue, and also Sharpie, my second favorite pen, and not enough Sharpie, as you will come to find out. There are play notes and novel segments. There's a web show outline, some actual script. There's puppet drawings. There's notes about Top Chef contestants. I don't know if they're ones I had a crush on or I was just rating them for some reason. There's drawings of my friends. There's, of course, lots more food diaries. There's, oh, look, here's a phone number. I don't even know whose phone number that is, but we could call that later. We could do that next week. Anyway, what is great and horrible about this notebook is that while I was clearly on fire writing, I was also somehow super duper careless because the bottom half to, bottom third maybe of the notebook sort of disappeared. Been washed away in a weird purple blur. And why? Because, ta-da, guess that Uniball Vision Fine Point pens are not waterproof. So I would suggest not using those to write checks because that's how they get stolen. People wash them. Because they wash right off here. Yeah, like right here, there's like half a puppet face just ripped right off the page. There's a little fat guy with no legs. This says, I like your smile. I don't know what the rest of it said. Never going to know because it's totally gone. There are some things I can still read, like I can see on 1/6/2011, for example, I had a Chileriano and a glass of red wine with Joe and Sybil at El Compadre. I don't know why anyone would choose to have red wine at El Compadre, but I did it, wrote it down. But whole swaths of a kid show, just gone. My dinner on 12/8, I don't know. It's probably chicken. Just a blur. And here's a koala bear without a foot. There's like limbless animals all the way through here. And this teaches me something. I mean, first of all, we live on a water planet. So if you're a Uniball pen, Vision Uniball pen, or one of those aliens from an M. Night Shyamalan movie, you need to be careful. Or if you write anything with either of those things. Also, you might not realize it's a bad idea, but don't put like gallon bottles of Arrowhead spring water sideways anywhere because they will leak. They will leak all over your notebooks and everything in your car, and it ends up smelling like you have a wet cabbage in your car. If you did that, if you were ever the kind of person that would put a bottle of water sideways in your car and then forget that you did that for like 2 weeks. And don't have wine at El Compadre, or if you do, don't write it down because that will still haunt you. Anyway, thanks. Have a nice week. Happy birthday to my dad and to the presidents. And also, use Sharpies when you write checks and maybe in your notebooks and maybe when you want to make a fake tattoo.
But there's another theory. My conscious mind could be controlling this subatomic world.
I've brought bread
to men, women, and children.
I've brought water with lemon for the table.
I have hot tea.
Can I box that for you?
I'll bring your change.
I was a bank teller. Actually, I was a supervisor at a bank. And I was in charge. It was the end of day, and everybody was balancing out their drawers.
Okay.
And was trying to wrap that up. And one of the girls, like, we had problems with her balancing.
Okay.
So, but she like wasn't in balance, but she wouldn't let me help her. It was really weird. I'd come over and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" She'd like growl at me. Yeah. Yeah. And then I then one of the other guys came and said he'd help her. I was like, okay. And they came over again. It was like getting late because it's been like half an hour. Came over and said, hey, really what's going on? Well, she didn't want to post it as being out because if you post it as being out, then it counts against you kind of thing. So she was still out. So I came over again and said, hey, so what's going on? If you're still out, then you're going to have to post it. And she growled at me again. And she grabbed my arm and she bit me. Right above the elbow, right here. And she growled while she did it. She went, what?
How did that seem?
I looked at her and I went, what are you doing? And I told her, look, if you're out of balance, you just need to post it.
So
no reaction whatsoever.
So you stayed focused through the pain.
I stayed focused through the whole thing and was just like, look, we need to get out of here.
If you're out of balance,
you just need to post it, okay?
So not only is she a bad teller, she's a bad biter.
She's a bad biter. She didn't bite me through. I had a wool suit on, so she bit me. And when I reported it to my supervisors the next day,
she was fine.
No, they laughed. One of them laughed at me.
Yes, this is definitely a long time ago.
And then later on, it was like 25 years ago.
Yes,
and
definitely.
then and then when my other supervisor was trying to fire her anyways, and then she tried to say that I said things at her or did weird things, and I said she bit me, and my boss was like, she what? I was like, yeah, no, she totally bit me. And I have witnesses, so and so and so and so and so. They were all standing there. Everyone saw it.
Isn't there a camera?
No, not back then.
No cameras.
We didn't have
25
cameras.
years ago.
25 years ago.
25 years ago was when they have bank robberies and shoot-ups all happening right down here.
Yeah, but they're pointing out. They're not pointing. They're pointing at the doors. They're not pointing at us.
This is an inner office conflict.
Okay, wait.
Interdependent.
So, anyways, when he confronted her with that, and she said, "Well, she said you bit her," and she laughed. And then that was it. She was gone.
And that was one of Deb's many merry storytellers in her traveling band. Thank you for the story, and always thank you, Deb. Appreciate it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Travis, but was that not D'Amico in the background as well?
Absolutely. Big shout out to D'Amico. He had a nice Facebook post after the Super Bowl about how Cam needs to be a man, essentially. Wow. Shout out to D'Amico. And shout out to, we'll call her Anonymous.
Anonymous.
The great storyteller of the bank bite.
It was a great story, well told.
Man, have you ever been bit at work?
No. God, no.
I'm trying to think if I've ever been bit. Have you ever been bit, period, outside of the first 5 years of your existence?
Yeah. My brother Rick was a biter at one point.
Shout out to Rick, the biter.
No, but I think I think he was the only one that ever bit me. But even that wasn't, it certainly didn't draw blood or anything.
Right.
He's not a doll.
A good bite mark.
I'm sure that I did something to deserve being bit. That I feel confident
absolutely.
In.
You were just the little brother, the little prick.
Oh yeah, no,
you probably cried a lot.
I was jerk.
You were a mama's boy,
one, man.
I would have. Yeah, and you have to be strategic in how to attack you because you would just cry and go to your mom for everything.
No,
I'm sure.
I was not. No, heck no. I'd take my punishment.
Oh, you take a good beating from the older brothers?
I would insist. I would. They were more likely to go tell on me because I wouldn't stop, and I would offer, be like, "No, dude, just pound me. It's fine. Go ahead. Don't tell mom." I'm like, I'll just take the beating.
Why? Why wouldn't you want to tell your mom that you got beat up by your older brother?
No, it's not.
Because they'd beat you up again?
No, I didn't want them to tell her that I was being a jerk.
Oh, right. Because you usually started it?
Of course. I was an instigator.
Man. So I don't have the time to fix you psychologically right now. But
well, I just don't like that you tried to turn me into a tattletale. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm an instigator, not a tattler.
I just look at you and I figure mama's boy.
Shh, please. Just because I love my mom didn't mean I went running to her.
That's a good point. Maybe that's why she liked you back, because you weren't a tattletale.
Exactly.
They get annoying.
She knows what happens to snitches. So do I.
Snitches get thrown in ditches.
They look like Thomas Davis's arm. They get stitched.
Like a 12-inch gash. It's brutal. Brutal.
Anyway, it's completely sidetracked.
The only biting stories I can think of are like Marv Albert, biting a prostitute on the back.
True.
And
on the back.
Luis Suarez biting people in soccer games.
True.
Those are my favorite biters.
I saw that too.
Maybe Silence of the Lambs. That's good biting stories.
Hannibal Lecter. He bit somebody at work, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. He bit a face off. One hell of a job.
You know what, I wonder, I can't recall it off the top of my head, but I'm willing to bet that my mom was bitten at work. Because she took care of some gnarly kids sometimes. I'm pretty sure she got bit once.
Right. Dealing with kids, or maybe, I'm sure if you're a paramedic, you probably get bit.
Cops probably get bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even one of those things where it's like, if you bite me, like, it's time to go. That just, I don't know. That makes me feel more like, oh, you need help. Like, there's something wrong with your brain.
Right. You don't think it would enrage you? You'd back up? Like, whoa.
Yeah, I think it would cause me more pause than it would, like, that's an instant switch. That's not what, like, if you slap me in the face, oh, man, it's go time. Don't touch me in the face. But you could bite me, and I would probably be more alarmed than I would, it's time to go.
Even if they got, like, a finger really good? that would enrage me. A finger bit, because they can like almost bite through it.
That would probably indicate that I'm like poking at them. So maybe I deserve to get bit. How do you get just a finger?
You're. I'm thinking if you're a paramedic, you're trying to put something on their face, like an oxygen mask or something, and you get bit.
Right.
I'll just punch them out cold.
See, I don't know why, but for me, a bite isn't. That's not one of those instant triggers for me. But fortunately, it's never really come up, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, wait. Well, if you see John Derby on the streets gliding along, just go ahead and bite him.
Give him a bite. See what happens.
I bet you it'll break your stride. It'll break your glide.
Yeah, no, like I said, it would definitely cause me pause.
All right, let's big thanks to Anonymous, to D'Amico. Who else we got to thank this week?
Well, always the standards, the crew, Deb and Jesse.
Of course. Shout out to Carol Corrigan.
Carol Corrigan.
Commenting.
Thank you so much.
Like, she said we're insightful. She must have been talking about you, so I'm not very insightful.
I wanted to know more specifics, but then I didn't want to know. I was like, thank you for the compliment. We're going to just take that and run.
Right. Let's just leave it there, because if you get too detailed, you'll probably insult me somehow.
And it turned out she was like, Carol, oh, no, actually, I was listening to something in the background, and I was thinking it when I typed your thing.
It was that little music clip you put up that wasn't anything to do with you guys.
Like, no, that part was the insightful DMX, part. That was awesome.
I love that quote. Sounded like from a movie, Wall Street. Oh, yeah, that was the insightful. Thanks, Corrigan. We love it. Keep the comments coming. Where can you find us, John Derby?
Well, always start at 86charles.com.
86charles.com?
86charles.com.
We're on the Instagrams. We're on the Twitters, @Company Blaster. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Twitter. Tumblr. Also, we're on Stitcher, the Stitcher app. If you're a big podcast listener, it's an awesome app. Shout out to the people who are going to 86charles.com and clicking on the Amazon link. We've got a bunch of new products bought. Some of my hands down favorite thing that's been bought in the last couple weeks is a 14 by 26 woven polypropylene sandbags, a 10-pack with ties. Somebody's prepping for a flood, man.
You know that's going to work because it's woven.
Yeah, they seem solid.
Oh, I didn't even
notice.
What
else you see on there? What do you like?
I didn't even notice this before. Super softy, cushioned bath pillow.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Ooh.
I've never had a bath pillow.
Ooh.
I'd like to lay in the tub more. Maybe I'd get a bath pillow.
Man, the tub is tough for me because I have a poor person's bathroom. It's not like I have a whirlpool.
How about the world's softest over-the-calf gallery fashion women's knee socks? Ooh.
See, if Rick actually knew me, that would be on the way to my house.
Yeah, totally. I could see you in the bath with your legs out, with your socks on. Shout out to the people clicking through. John Derby, as always, it's that time. Can you leave us with just one word?
Satisfaction.
Mama, there goes that man.
The new boy in the neighborhood lives downstairs and it's understood. He's there just to take good care of me, like he's one of the family.